The EcomCrew podcast and blog is taking things to the next level. If you haven't had a chance to go to EcomCrew.com lately, you're missing out. We just actually relaunched our new website, and it looks like we just went from Microsoft front page in 1995 to something that looks like it belongs in 2018. I'm so proud of what we've been able to do there, and I want to thank Dave QA for all his help behind the scenes. He's a longtime podcast listener and friend, and he's just doing an amazing job helping us out there. It looks awesome. And as a part of this relaunch, we did a new thing called My EcomCrew, which you can go to by going to myecomcrew.com. It's a free library of resources like training courses and cheat sheets and all my talks from different events. We're just kind of putting all this stuff together. We're limping across the finish line here. You know how it is with a minimal viable product kind of launch, but we have a bunch of stuff already in there. And this week we just added a free 5-part mini course on Amazon, and there's another one coming in a couple of days. So go to myecomcrew.com to sign up today, and also go to ecomcrew.com to check out the new EcomCrew. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Thanks again for supporting the EcomCrew podcast, and now on with the show. This is Mike, and welcome to episode number 125 of the EcomCrew podcast. You can go to ecomcrew.com/125 to get to the show notes for this episode. And today I'm going to be talking about some emails that went out to Amazon sellers for breaking terms of service, something that is always on people's minds, in the forefront of your minds. If you sell on Amazon, this is definitely an episode you're going to want to listen to. It's something that's it's just gut-wrenching getting an email from Amazon saying that your account's been suspended or that you may be suspended. And we're going to get into a deep dive on that on the other side of this break. Real quickly, I do want to mention that this episode is dedicated to Bobby. Wondering who that is? Stay tuned to the very end for a special dedication.
Welcome to the EcomCrew podcast, hosted by Mike Jackness and Dave Bryant, who together run e-commerce businesses that generate 8 figures annually. Mike and Dave take pride in running a podcast that isn't just fluff, talking about specific products, problems, and real-world solutions. In the words of one of our favorite reviews, this podcast is like a playbook for e-commerce. You can take any episode and spend the next month trying to implement it. So without further ado, here's the EcomCrew.
On October 24th, 2016, I received the following email from Amazon. We recently updated our policies to prohibit incentivized reviews, including those posted in exchange for a free or discounted copy of the product. You are receiving this email because products you sell have received incentivized reviews in the past. If you attempt to acquire incentivized reviews going forward, your Amazon privileges will be suspended or terminated. That was the day that I decided to completely change my mindset on Amazon. And I've done a couple of podcasts about this, including our 2018 Amazon launch strategy. All of these different podcasts will link in the show notes. Again, you can go to the show notes by going to ecomcrew.com/125 for this episode. But it was really just a big wake-up call for me, and I needed to completely change my frame of mind. Again, I've talked about this on previous episodes, but I want to reiterate a couple of things that have happened to me in the past, mostly with Google. I mean, this was a similar thing that I had to deal with Google. Doing SEO on Google is one of these games that's you're pushing up against the line, but trying not to go over it and getting smacked down with it. With SEO, you're trying to gain links, but you don't want to gain links in a black hat way. You're not even supposed to really try to get links or ask someone for a link by their terms of service. Certainly paying for links is out of the question, and a bunch of other dirty tactics. But the problem is in the Google space, if you aren't doing these things or doing the flavor of the day or whatever it might be, it's very hard to achieve and keep a number one ranking because cheaters can win, at least in the short term. And I found myself doing things that I thought were just good business, or I was being the overachiever that I try to be, and I was going to tackle this problem by buying links or whatever it might be, because it worked. You would buy a link or two and you'd see it work. It was kind of like I think probably much like a heroin addict. You take it once or twice, you think you're not going to do it again. Next thing you know, you're doing it every week. Then you're doing it once a day or multiple times a day, whatever that might be. And it's very much the same with Google and Amazon, both of them together, have very similar properties to that, in that it works and feels great until it doesn't, and then the result is that you're basically dead when it doesn't work. And I've had this happen multiple times in my Google SEO career. You would have thought that I would have been smart enough to learn after the first time it happened, or after the second time that it happened, but it actually took happening 3 times before I really learned my lesson, and that there's a better way to go about it. You can write really great content, and people will respond to that, and it takes more time. But when you do it the right way, the white hat way, you're building a long-term business that is very defensible versus doing the black hat thing that isn't. And this is the approach that we've taken, quite frankly, with EcomCrew. We never ask for links. I don't have to ask for links. We write amazing content. I'm on tons of podcasts. When you're on a podcast, you get a link. I go speak at lots of shows. When you speak at shows, they typically link to you. People link naturally to our content because we are working very hard to provide content that people legitimately find valuable. And so we don't have to spend a bunch of time begging people for links or trying to buy links or game the system, because the content is legitimately good. So that's the same philosophy that I took with Amazon. And moving forward, again, if you listen to the 2018 launch strategy, you'll know the entire process that we went through for that. And there's a couple other episodes as well. So now I want to read you another email that went out on February 26th. And it says, "Hello, we are contacting you because you appear to have violated the policies of misuse of ratings, feedback, or reviews, misuse of sales rank, misuse of search and browse on our site. Prohibited behaviors on Amazon include, but are not limited to, hiring third parties to try to improve ASIN rank and or reviews, sending packages to addresses where the recipient does not order or expect them, soliciting or accepting false or fraudulent orders, placing orders for your own products, compensating buyers for purchasing your products, including claim codes. If this conduct continues, you will not be eligible to sell on Amazon.com. To learn more about this policy, we encourage you to review the misuse of sales rank, misuse of search and browse, and misuse of sales rank sections in the prohibited sellers activities and actions page in Seller Central." I'm very proud that I did not get this email. I'm a member of the $1 Million Sellers Facebook group. We'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. I highly encourage people to join that if you are doing over $1 million in revenue on Amazon. And it looks like dozens, if not hundreds of people in that group got this email. And there's other Facebook groups out there and other groups, and there was a lot of cross-pollination of people talking about this issue, like literally hundreds of people or even thousands of people getting this email, and even more people actually getting suspended. I guess it probably was on a varying degree of how egregious the things you were doing were to whether you got your account suspended or not. And again, like for me, I'm like just so happy that I didn't get this email. And I feel like the last almost 2 years of hard work and not doing this stuff has paid off in a way that today is the kind of day that I can say that we went the right direction. And it's been just such I mean, not that I'm not in a high stress environment to begin with, but I feel like my stress is a little bit lower or significantly lower than it would be if I was playing this game of hiring third parties to improve your ASIN. It's very easy to do. There's lots of these services out there. And in the $1 Million Seller group, people were gloating about how you use a launch service and your product magically ranked really, really high, like within a couple of days. And everyone knows how to game the system on Amazon. And it's very easy to fall into that trap because you can see short-term results that are very significant and can move the needle very, very quickly. Sending packages to addresses where the recipient doesn't order or expect them. This is a very Chinese seller type of thing to do, and very dirty, obviously. And soliciting or accepting false or fraudulent orders, placing orders for your own products. I mean, all these are things that I just haven't done at all, ever even thought about. But this compensating buyers for purchasing your products, including claim codes, is another thing that I'm proud that we have stayed away from. For the vast majority of things that we've done to this point, we do not use any type of coupon codes at all, like period, end of story. And when we do, it's for very specialized reasons to try to reinvigorate an old listing or something. But we don't do ever anything more than 45% because we want to make sure that it's not tripping some type of Amazon algorithm. I think that because of my IT background, I really get how easy it is for big data to just completely screw you at a moment's notice. I don't want to be in a situation where somebody can write one query and be able to identify all these fraudulent activities and be caught up in this in a very easy way. I mean, for instance, you could write a query that basically says, show me a seller who gets X percentage of their sales from coupon codes, or show me a seller that's getting reviews at a higher than standard rate that also uses coupon codes, or whatever type of query you want to use. It's very easy to stamp out and find these people. And if you're using review groups or other things like that, or these private Facebook groups that are doing reviews, it's very easy to create a footprint of people that are buying and leaving a higher rate than reviews, and you can link that to people. It's very much the same as a way that Google does things from an inbound link perspective. They're looking at a web of sales, and it can overlay things, and very quickly somebody can be outside the standard deviation of the norm and trigger some type of bad activity on your account. And I just want to completely stay away from that. Like, I do not want to risk our multi-million-dollar Amazon business, hopefully our 8-figure e-commerce business this year. That's our goal, is to get to that this year. On something stupid like this. And now that we've put all the front-loaded effort into building our list and building a community and working on our products, it should just become easier from here, because now we have that list and that core group to launch our products to, and I don't need to worry about the flavor of the month of the way to cheat Amazon to get higher rankings. I talked about this before, and again, I'm in this $1 million seller group. I think that's an amazing community, and there's a lot of really good things in there. But the thing that just makes me kind of do a face palm is that every time Amazon does something to correct the nefarious activities that are happening, people are just looking for a way to do something different to correct that. And it's just, when the review thing came out, it was the same thing. And for the last 18 months since that happened, there's been a lot of chatter of like, how can we push the envelope and do things that are against terms of service, but we won't get caught for. And now it's catching up. And the same type of comments are happening now, where it's just like, oh, well, is this way of cheating going to be okay? And well, how did you cheat? Let's try to figure out exactly what someone was doing, what the consistent issue was. And I just don't want to worry about that. I think that's ridiculous. I get a lot of other value out of the community for white hat things that I want to be doing, and certainly don't need to be doing any of those black hat things to potentially ruin our business. There's so many other really black hat nasty things that are happening out there. We did an episode on things that Chinese sellers or just third-party sellers are doing in a competitive way to leave bad reviews or file false IP claims, and those are things I still have to worry about. There's nothing I can do about those types of things, but this is something I can control. I think that in business you create your own luck, and I don't think that it was lucky that I didn't get this email and that thousands of other people did, and I don't think that it's lucky that I didn't get my account closed like evidently thousands of other sellers did. It seems like especially Chinese sellers, they were really caught up in this, and it seemed like they did it. The timing was very strategic, and they did it over Chinese New Year to really send a point when people weren't even in their offices to deal with it. Again, I'm just happy that I didn't get caught up in this. Our long-term focus is to legitimately create brands. Amazon is just one of our sales channels that we want to do this with. We don't want to completely rely on Amazon for everything we do, even though they are still our largest channel right now. But over time, I hope that we get business from other channels to equal just as much we do on Amazon, and we look at this as a brand building exercise and how we can create something that might even eventually be on retail shelves, even though we've had episodes on why you might not want to be on retail shelves, at least in big box stores, but that's at least a part of something we could look forward to potentially to continue to build our brand and our reach. So that's it for this episode, everybody. I hope this gives you something to think about. The obvious moral of the story is to do the right thing in life and in business. You do not need to cheat to win. Winners never cheat. Cheaters never win. Long term, man, I tell you, this is going to come down on people. In my mind, Amazon has to do something about this, and I think they will continue to do something about this. And I think that I'm happy again that we've taken the high road. So again, if you're interested in the $1 Million Sellers group I mentioned, you can go to ecomcrew.com/MDS for $1 Million Sellers. It's a private Facebook group just for $1 million. You have to verify your revenue if you do $1 million on Amazon. It's a great group of people. It's run by my friend Ian and a couple other guys. And I think that if you're doing $1 million in business, you should definitely be part of these types of communities, like the $1 Million Seller group, like E-commerce Fuel, which I talk about a lot. So yeah, you can go to ecomcrew.com/MDS to sign up there if you're interested in that, and see all the chatter that's going on about this particular issue, and also about a lot of other things that are more white hat. So with that, I'm going to sign off for this episode. Until the next one, we'll talk to you then. And that's a wrap. You can go to ecomcrew.com/125 to get to the show notes for this episode. And off the top of this episode, I mentioned that this episode is dedicated to Bobby. You're probably wondering who that is. That was actually our German Shepherd who just passed this last week. And for anyone who's had a dog in their lives, you know how difficult that can be. This was a rescue dog that we got on January 1st, 2006, a long, long time ago. He was between 1 and 2 years old when we got him, which means that he passed at somewhere around 13 years old, which is just unheard of for a German Shepherd. And you're probably also wondering, what does this have to do with e-commerce? Absolutely nothing. I've done 125 of these episodes, giving back to the community, and this is for me. And one thing I do want to mention, please rescue. If you're looking at getting a dog, we gave a dog a life for 12 years. Getting a dog from a breeder is literally the same thing as killing another dog. And I'm very happy that we were able to give a dog a home for as long as we did. It was my wife and my pride and joy. We don't have kids yet. He was basically like our kid and went everywhere with us. 35 states, we count them up the other day, 3 countries, and a lot of memories, a lot of really happy photographs we've been looking at and videos that just make us smile. And we're blessed to have had him for as long as we did. So, Bobby, this is for you, buddy. And until the next episode, guys, happy selling, and we'll talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to the EcomCrew podcast. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/EcomCrew for weekly live recordings of the EcomCrew podcast every Monday. And please do us a favor and leave an honest review on iTunes. It would really help us out. Again, thanks for listening. And until next week, happy selling.